Good morning and thank you for joining me today. This morning we're talking about a very, very interesting topic. It's called, Is Now the Right Time? And let's enter it and say, what if I said that I want you to stop looking at your current place as a place of stuckness? What if I said that the right time and right season to do something about it is now? You may be asking me, how do you know that now is the right time and season? So let's turn to Scripture. The first reading is from Genesis 8 verse 22. And the Lord is speaking. He says, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. And the second reading is a very well-known one. It's from Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 to 8. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. That was from the New International Version. What we can say to each other right now is that seasons and timing are important to God, and they should be important to us as well. The next thing we need to grasp, and this is a bit of a mind bender, is that there is enough time to do what must be done while you're still alive. Scripture is saying there's a time for everything. So the real challenge is not time, but our priorities. We as a people tend to first do what is important to us, even if that thing is selfish or pleasurable or long and difficult. So what we're saying this morning is that we need to appropriately move through seasons and at the same time do what must be done and when it must be done. And yes, life is going to present us with some good times and some challenging times. And although life is a gift from God, it remains good. We at the same time need to embrace these challenging times and push through them with godly focus, perseverance, character and hope, instead of allowing the not so good times to dominate. So in this message, I'm going to share some thoughts with you, and I really pray that it will help you move through the not so good times. The first principle I'm going to share with you is actually quite logical. It says, if you do something, something will happen. If you do nothing, that too will happen. The first is to know what time and season you are in. Is it seed time? Is it a time of patience? Is it a time for caring and nurturing? Or is it harvest time? We need to realistically know what to expect from our present season and time of life. And if it is not harvest time, by all means, look forward to the harvest. But don't expect it right now. Likewise, we can ask each other, can I reasonably look forward to a harvest if I've not done what is required to get the harvest? If you haven't sown seed at the appropriate time, and in the appropriate season, how can you look forward to an appropriate harvest at the appropriate time? Noah, at the right time, was told to build an ark. At the right time, he started building the ark, and the construction lasted for the right period of time. And at the right time, the animals came in. At the right time, the ark was closed. The flood started at the right time, and it lasted for the right period of time. Noah stayed in the ark for the right period of time, and at the right time, the ark was opened. Any mistiming here, would have led to disaster. And that brings me to my next point. We need to prosper no matter what the season. And when we're in a not so good time, the word prosper is something we really want to hear. But at the same time, because we have times and seasons, it is unrealistic to prosper 24/7. Or is it? I actually suggest that prospering 24/7 is possible, but it might not be as you expect. We've got to first attend to our understanding of prosperity. Psalm 1 verse 3 reads, "That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers." Whatever they do prospers. Hold on to that. It stands to reason that if they do nothing, well, nothing much is going to prosper. But this prosperity statement needs context. Therefore, I must simply emphasize verses 1 and 2 of Psalm 1 that went ahead of this, because it contextualizes that part, what they do prospers. It reads, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night." Then the result is prospering in what you do. Because biblical prosperity is not about me. It's not about an expensive car. It's not about money. It's not about designer clothing. It's not about the absence of hardship. Biblical prosperity is not the result of this name it and claim it that's out there. I can't force God, and I cannot speak it into existence. The Bible is not promising us an absence of hardship, but it does promise us that God will be with us, and we will have the peace of Christ during those hard times. So biblical prosperity is the blessed result flowing from the sovereign decision of God as it relates to his purposes. It is because, how can I put it? In him we have everlasting life. And no one or nothing can remove you or me from the love of God. It is because God is with me, and he is in me, and he is with you, and he is in you. It is because the gospel has been spread. It is because the gates of hell shall not prevail against his church. It is the peace of Christ. Now we're talking about biblical prosperity, 24/7. If I had to be honest, my contribution to prosperity is to study his word, to be obedient to him, in prayer and humility, bring my requests to him. God is sovereign. So in this sense, biblical prosperity is a 24/7 possibility. The absence of temporary or worldly things is not an absence of biblical prosperity. The fact that God will help us through the not so good times is in itself biblical prosperity. God is always with us, and he loves us. And that brings me to the next point. Sometimes when we're moving through times and seasons, we're going to encounter obstacles. Call it a mountain, and we need to overcome this mountain. I'm reminded of Jesus and the disciples in the boat. They had witnessed Jesus' miracles, and in a sense, I can imagine that when they got into the boat with Jesus, it might have been with the mindset of what could possibly go wrong. But what could possibly go wrong is perhaps a false statement of confidence as life unfolds. So when we get to those points and everything is good about life and we start asking those questions, what could possibly go wrong? Life is still going to unfold. There's going to be mountains to cross. And these mountains might have some interesting names, such as the death of a loved one, finances, unfaithfulness, unemployment, for us challenges in ministry, and so on. These mountains have got names. But the first thing to remember is that if a mountain is ahead of you and you want to cross over it, you've got to engage it. The mountain is not going to come to you, sink in the ground that you can pass over a flat surface. And while we're on the topic, now is always the right time and season to engage a mountain. All the waiting in the world is not going to get you on top of that mountain. So let me repeat, if you want to climb the mountain, you must move towards the mountain. You know there's going to be obstacles on the way up, but at some point you've got to take that first step. And even though you might plan a route ahead of the time, and you might not see the whole route to the summit, there might still be some unexpected loose rocks in it. I mean, climbing a mountain is a treacherous thing. And you can easily get lost on a mountainside when mist or darkness closes in around you and you don't know where to step next. This is what we call a potentially deadly and dangerous situation. Your next step might very well be your last step. Therefore, you need to know where to step next. And Psalm 119 verse 105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." So every step, every season, every time, every journey are best faced when rooted in the Word of God. When God shows you where to step next, you're stepping onto holy territory because you are stepping into the purposes and will of God. He will light your path and He will light your feet as you climb. So what I'm saying to you this morning is, stay rooted in God and approach that mountain with confidence. The next lesson we have to learn is how to actively wait between seasons and time. Now, active and wait are two words you don't often see in the same sentence. So let's turn to 1 Kings 18 verse 41. And Elijah said to Ahab, "Go eat and drink, for there's a sound of heavy rain." And you guys will know the rest of the story. This is after 3 years of drought. And there's so much to learn from this particular passage of Scripture. We don't have the time for it this morning, so I'm going to give you the short version. Elijah prayed. His prayer matched his expectation. His face was almost to the ground. He sends his servants to look at the sea, see nothing. He told his servant to go look 7 more times. And Elijah gets the answer he's looking for. A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising up from the sea. And Elijah sends message to Ahab. What are you doing while you are waiting? Where is your heart while you are waiting? Here's a clue. Let your face guide you. Is it between your knees while you earnestly petition the Lord? That's where Elijah's was. Let me bring it all together. The time between seasons is not a time of nothingness. It's simply a different season. So there cannot be something like a wrong season, because seasons are given by God and they're good. But what about time? The principle here is you cannot idly kill time without injuring eternity. Elijah did not passively wait for that cloud to appear. That Elijah bent down to the ground and put his face between his knees shows us how Elijah actively waited between season and time. His prayers were matching his expectation. And brothers and sisters, discerning the present will of God is to discern season and time. And since God is always active in our lives and He's active in the world, the time is always right to obediently do the will of God. And the result will be the ability to see your circumstances differently. God will be glorified. You will grow spiritually. You will make meaningful progress. You will understand and experience godly prosperity, optimizing both seasons as well as time, and you will become unstuck. So again, a reminder of how to discern the will of God. Open your Bible and study it. Amen. Next week, I'm taking a break, so see you in 2 weeks' time. God bless.